Let's see if I can find it. Here we go. There was a Reddit thread. And it said essentially that this whole talk about Diamond 2 and up being high elo and everything else being low elo, that it's bullshit, because if you look at statistics here, you can see that well, essentially what he's saying is that everything about 50%, alright, I don't want to make it like clear cut, but essentially one of the big arguments has been, and I'm not pinning this on Dong specifically, but one of the big arguments has been that everything about 50% is high because it's more than basically half of the players, or the average players rather. So what some people are saying is that Silver 2 is high elo because it's the top 44% of players. So it's pretty good, right? And if you go all the way to like gold, top 19% of players, now that's really good. That's, yeah, out of all these players who play on EU West ranked, 2.7 million players who play ranked, and the top 19% in gold 3, like 523,000 people. The problem here is that you can't say that the 19% is good because it's the top 90%, right? You're better than so many other people who play the game. The problem is that this is kind of, and I want to preface this with saying that I understand that all this is subjective. You can't really, like, high elo is a very subjective term, and I don't think this should be used to like offend anyone or like trash talk lower elos, whatever you think is low elo. But I feel like we live in like a feel-good society where everyone wants to. Oh my god, this is coming off so pretentious. Bear with me. I feel like it's kind of the feel-good society part where we just kind of want to feel good about whatever ranking we have, or whatever we do, like grades and I don't want to go too deep on that tangent, but essentially you just want to feel good about what you're doing, right? Or what rank you are, or how far you've gotten. But the problem is, you're sharing this rank with 523,000 people right now. It's a good rank. It shows that you're pretty good at the game. You're the top 20% of players. That's good. It is good. There's nothing wrong with being gold, right? But the problem is that when people start bringing arguments like, well, that's like saying everyone who's not Diamond 2 and above, which is the top 0.21%, saying that everyone who's below that is low elo is like saying everyone who's below 2.15 meters are short. I hate that argument. I hate that argument because you're okay. For a comparison, say one of the best football players, or a professional football player, right? I'm talking about actual football, not like hand egg. Like football, you kick it with your feet. The top, like a really, really good football player, plays professionally, but he's really bad comparatively. Like compared to people like professional players, he's really bad. He doesn't do as well. Now that guy can say that, oh well, you know, I'm compared to people like the children at like age 6 who go out and kick a football around on a field. I'm really good. I'm much better than them, right? Percentily, and compared statistically, if we add up all those people who play football who just go out casually and kick it around the field, yeah, I'm really fucking good, right? But that's the problem. You're taking players who really just doesn't play the game as seriously as many of the high elo people, and you're using them as comparison. Like most of the time, Diamond and Plus just doesn't really care, right? About the vast majority. So it's I mean, it's problematic saying specifically Diamond X, like Diamond 1, 2, 3, or Master Tier or Challenger, or we all suck because Koreans are better. Like whatever you want to say, it's obviously subjective, right? But the problem with the argument that everyone who's below 2.50 meters is then short is that you're comparing every single person on the planet, and you can't really compete with being tall, right? There's no real way to be like competitively tall unless you do some kind of weird stretching. I don't fucking know. But here there is a way to improve it, to get taller, as it were. And to then say that the guy who is like 2.15 and he wants to compare it to people who are 2.35, and he's like, well, I mean, I'm so much taller than people who are 1.8. This is a really, really, really weird analogy. But I think my point comes across, that this idea is just, I don't know. And to have, it's the same with like pro players. You can have pro players who are differently good, right? I should probably just stop talking now. But you can have pro players who have a different skill, but in relation to other pro players, they're not that good, right? Drunk, weed. I really, okay. This tangent is interesting. But the argument sucks. The argument is just obnoxious, and wanting to just feel good about your rank no matter what rank you are. So essentially what people are saying is that, well, as long as you're above the 50%, then you're really good. It's like saying, I mean, the average dick, I think, is 5.6 inches, someone said. I didn't Google this. I think someone said that. And to say it, for me to say like, or for someone to say like, well, my dick is 5.7 inches, that means I have a really big dick. Now, it means you have a bigger dick than the average. And, I mean, compared to... So, anyway, the argument doesn't really work. And it would just be this weird, like, let's all feel good about ourselves kind of situation. Like, oh, you're high Elo? Yeah, I'm gold. Oh, well, are you... I mean, yeah, technically you're high Elo. It's like platinum. Well, you're the top of the top. You're top 5%. It doesn't... You know, in the end, it's a silly argument because high Elo is subjective, right? I'm gonna take a drink, though. High Elo is subjective, right? So it's all the same. It's a really, really weird argument, but the way high Elo has been used is not to describe all the ranks that are above 50% of the player base. It's to describe the top of the top. Now, what the top of the top is, you could say, well, the absolute 3 best players in each region is to someone the top of the top. But then it's like, there's no point using high Elo because there's only 3 people who have it. And you could say that, well, since Diamond 2 is the average, or what people usually use, that's like 5,000-6,000 players. That's so many players. Why would you just use it? Well, that's what I'm saying. It's just a fluctuating number. It's so hard to have something be tangible. But to say that everything that's above 50% is high Elo is just... The term high Elo just has no meaning anymore. It's like... Alright, well, I guess... It's the same as saying, like, well, technically Bronze 1 is pretty good, right? Because you're top 77%. Like, you're still better than 600,000 players. If you look at the stats, you're still better than 600,000 players. Like, in ranking, right? So, I don't know. I don't think people should feel bad about their rankings anyway, but this is a weird topic, because I don't want people to feel bad about their ranking if they are platinum, gold, silver, bronze. It's just, the comparisons are just really poor, I feel. The comparison of saying, well, as long as you compare every single person who plays this, who has played a ranked game, I am statistically better than the average player, therefore I am high Elo. It just doesn't click with me. But again, this is subjective, and thing is, I can't prove that you're wrong. I can't prove that it's a wrong thing to say. So if you have that opinion, you're fine. You're free to have it. Like, I can't change that. It's just to lump up every single player who's ever played football, and the actual football, not hand egg as mentioned, and say that statistically, compared to the people who have no legs and no arms and are blind and deaf, and they kind of like wiggle out on the field and headbutt the ball. Statistically, I'm better than those people, and statistically, I'm better than babies who have kicked the ball. It just lumping all that together and just making statistics work for you and to make you feel better just doesn't feel right to me, right? So if you can be happy with whatever rank you have, and obviously you're not. I'm not saying that because you gold you're only better than someone who has no extremities and are blind and deaf and are headbutting their keyboard. I'm saying that that is one of the people you're comparing yourself with when saying that when you're making yourself feel really good and being high elo, right? Strawman. Yeah, I know. So essentially, I had nothing really tangible to say, but I don't. Okay, so tangibly, I don't like the argument that everyone who's below, but saying everyone who's below Diamond 2 is low elo is like saying everyone who's below 2.15 meters is short. That's all. If you're happy with your ranking, great for you. I'm happy for you. Keep practicing. You'll get there. Wherever there is, wherever you want to go, good luck. Let's play some League of Legends PC edition. Whew.